first things first, Sonia, how are you?
I'm good. I have been very motivated with writing new music already. So I'm good. I have
Oh,
my
that's
MIDI keyboard here. So yeah, I have been very inspired lately. So I'm good.
how come?
I don't know. Sometimes I have like this wave of inspiration. Recently, I have been writing a lot of ideas. I don't know, maybe it's because of the fresh days, the colder days. Autumn is coming.
Mhm.
In the summer, it's harder to write music because it's just too hot. I don't have the motivation with the heat. And now that the days are getting colder, it's a lot easier to get into the songwriting. So yeah, I'm very inspired.
Well, let's jump way back to the beginning then, because do you remember what first inspired you to write any type of music? Because
Well,
oh, go ahead.
yeah. So with Cobra Spell, actually is the birth of a band that is coming from my main inspiration that dated back when I was 14
Mm.
years old. When I started being a musician, I was hugely inspired by the glam rock, heavy metal, the more shock rock scene. Artists like Kiss, Alice Cooper, Wasp were artists that I really look up to back then, but also now I admire deeply, and they're huge role models for me. And yeah, the way they express themselves live, the energy that the music has is something that spoke a lot to me as a musician, something that I wanted to do as a dream, as a little girl. I saw myself as, well, I hope I can ever be this kind of musician slash music hero. And yeah, this is childhood dream. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome to hear. What was it about this type of music, and especially Kiss, around that age? Because I think this must have been around 2012 or something, and I can imagine not a lot of your friends or people of your
No,
age were listening to that type of music. So, and for me, it was
no.
when I first saw the movie Detroit Rock City. That was kind of that solidified that Kiss thing for me. So what was it for you?
For me, honestly, it was thanks to the internet
Okay.
because, yeah, I had no friends in high school that listened to this kind of music, or neither my parents, they
Mhm.
didn't introduce me to this kind of music. It was something that I explored myself on YouTube, just looking up things. I had a memory from the past that I saw a documentary of Kiss. I think it was in a Dutch TV program,
Mhm.
Agogo, and they had this little documentary about Kiss. And it was a documentary that happens every end of the year in Dutch TV, and they did this little documentary. And I remember seeing those makeup faces and thinking that looks funny. Like I didn't know what they were about. I just knew that song. I was made for loving you. You know that song that everyone knows. And yeah, I like that song. And I looked it up on YouTube. Their live concerts, and I jumped into a huge rabbit hole of interviews and live performances from the 70s and the 80s. And I got really into Kiss. I am still a huge fan of this band, and the discography is just huge. They have so many albums full of great music, in my opinion. They have been able to produce so many good music in such a long amount of time. They're still active. Besides, my passion for the music that they make and the eras that
Mhm.
they have incredible performers. And yeah, they've always remained so professional with what they do. They have only been growing, and I totally respect Paul Stanley and Gene Simmons on the way they have been, and the
Mhm.
music is amazing. Yeah, I just really a huge fan. Yeah.
That is cool to hear. And going from kind of somebody who's obsessed with this rock band and getting into music yourself, when did you first kind of think of, hey, maybe I want to go on stage, and when did that become a reality of a kind of moving from just somebody who listens to music to somebody who actually makes music and
Yeah, when I was little, and my passion for Kiss started, it's also opened up many other bands. So I saw,
yeah.
Wasp, Alice Cooper, and then it started getting a little bit heavier. I discovered thrash metal,
Mm.
bands like Anthrax. I was a huge Anthrax fan. I started getting even deeper into it and getting into technical thrash metal and even into death metal, and I was really getting into like the whole world of extreme music. And I thought, okay, maybe I should start looking for a band. And at that time I actually started as a bass player. I started as a
Yeah.
bass player, and later on I picked up the guitar, and I joined a local band, Dimension. That was my first metal band. It was a band that
Mm.
was already started by two brothers, and yeah, I got to have my first chance as a musician in a metal band, and it was a nice experience. It was a nice experience, and from there, um, I was building up my career as a musician, so I got better opportunities in my eyes, better opportunities as
Yeah.
okay, this band's um, playing a lot more on stage. I need to join them and get out there and just grabbing any kind of opportunities that I got. Most of them were more extreme, and
Yeah.
they were all already settled bands. Yeah.
Yeah, and I do remember you saying about when you joined Burning Witches, the reason why you kind of left is because you wanted a little bit more of your own creativity in there. You wanted to write a
Yeah.
little bit more. So I was wondering, when did you start writing down riffs or even lyrical ideas? Was that well before, or did you only start once you picked up the guitar?
My first ideas date back when I was a member of Shade of Hatred, which is a Dutch death metal band.
Okay.
I was a bass player there, and with this band, they started writing riffs for an album. And I started also, oh, I can play the guitar and maybe I can bring in some ideas. Though unfortunately, they weren't appropriate for the band, so I just kept them for myself. And from that point, I started recording my own ideas at home.
Okay.
And single band that I was in already had a songwriter, so it I didn't have the chance for many years to share my ideas. Pretty much until I was a member of Burning Witches, and this band I also wasn't able to express myself creatively. So
Mm.
during my being a member in this band, I started Cobra Spell, and for me was this was the first, like, being able to start my own band allowed me to write my own music. And I actually have a fun fact. I don't know if you know the band Crypta.
Yeah, yeah.
So one of the riffs the first riff that I wrote for Shade of Hatred is actually used on one of the songs of Crypta.
Okay.
And this is an old riff. And I thought, okay, it's never going to be used. But some of the ideas that I have from many years, they're still being used. And so they're not getting wasted.
Oh, but that's great to hear. And yeah, I've spoken to I forgot the name, but the drummer from Crypta, and then also Helena from Nervosa. So it's really cool to see all these bands, all female rock and roll bands.
Yeah.
And this is maybe a cheesy question, but is that important to you? The fact that you got to show what you can had to offer in a way as a woman?
I think it's very important in this moment that we live in, because the genre that we play is there's a huge imbalance in
Mm.
gender. And certainly in the style that I play, which is very aesthetical too, it's not only about music, but it's very much about looks.
Mm.
Um, it's kind of scary for us, like women, to express the way we do, because we get very easily criticized for what we do. And yeah, I mean, it's a genre that takes a lot of the attention, and it's very it's glam rock. It's very
Mm.
sexual, you can even say, like it has a lot of sexual energy. And this is something that for men is kind of romanticized. If you look at in the 80s, the lyrics from bands like Kiss and Wasp, there, imagine a woman singing about that. Then it's kind of like weird in some kind of way when it should be normal. And yeah, that's, I feel like with Cobra Spell, I have this role to change it completely, like be an all-female band that does exactly what bands were doing in the 80s. And sometimes you need to make a strong statement to make it come through. And I think I feel the need to do so. And I'm not scared to do it. So I think it's necessary for now. Yeah, definitely. When I read the opinions of some people, like we get a lot of positive opinions, but also there's sometimes people that really like to comment in a not very respectful way. And when I see that, it kind of proves that we need to keep doing this. And yeah, it's nice that there is many all-female bands like emerging right now. I think it's been stronger than ever, and it's good, and we just need more. It's so yeah, it's great that bands like Nervosa, like Burning Witches, like Crypta are out there for sure.
And what I think, well, it's also very good then that young women have kind of people to look up to. So do you get that a lot where maybe a young girl comes up to you and hey, I want to start playing the guitar because of you or something like that?
Yeah, it's amazing when I get to hear this. Certainly, when I was giving guitar lessons, right now I took a little break of it, but when I was giving guitar lessons, younger girls would approach me for lessons, and for me, it's very inspiring to see this. It kind of like motivates me to keep on going. It gives me fresh energy because this is exactly what I want to do. And yeah, if it inspires a young girl to pick up the guitar or to start singing or maybe even painting or creating something creative, it's beautiful to see that. It's exactly what I want to for girls to not feel intimidated, to do that what makes them happy, and not be scared for what other people might think, or the comments of that they might get. It's kind of scary for me when I was younger. The first concerts that I was giving as a bass player, definitely when you're in the more underground, you have little audiences and people are way more personal to you, and they may be there to be a little bit harsher, so they will say things into your face. These days it's a little bit less, but back then it was a lot. And they would say like, hey, why are you holding that bass guitar on stage? It's for your boyfriend. It's like, what? I'm gonna play right now. I wouldn't be taken that seriously. And that's why it's very intimidating when you're starting up. And it's very important to for me to be able to be a representation for other girls. And I hope that I can do it the best I can. I try my best, for sure.
Yeah, what gave you the confidence to, despite kind of those negative people, to keep going or to pursue something that people kind of maybe had some hesitation with, or I don't know how your surroundings reacted to when you said, hey, I'm going to be a rock and roll guitar player?
I think that the fire, I mean, the passion, when you like something so much, you can't stop it. My passion for music is huge, and I have a vision in my head that is so real, and I cannot imagine it not happening. So it has to. So I will keep on going, no matter if the biggest negative thing happens. Nothing can stop me, kind of. And I think everyone needs to have that mentality and never give up in your own dreams. I know it sounds very generic, but it's very important for everyone, not only women, but everyone, for men, for everyone. If you have a dream, don't let someone that doesn't like it or is hating on you or doesn't agree stop you. It's your dream. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think those type of you kind of say it's kind of like a cliche answer, but they're a cliche for a reason, right? It's the truth. I mean, it's very
Yeah.
good advice for people, I think. Now, getting back to the kind of 80s glam metal, because I'm somebody who likes to read rock and roll autobiographies, and I read Motley Crue and all that stuff. Now, if I think about society today, like a lot of those bands would be in prison, I think, if they did
Oof.
what they did
Yeah.
right now, right? So, and this is maybe a weird question, but what is kind of the rock and roll lifestyle like these days?
It totally changed. And if I have to be honest, like Cobra Spell is not a band that like Motley Crue, that is sex, drugs, and rock and roll. We're not
Mm,
really like that. We're actually very chill.
okay.
Um, I personally actually read the biographies of Kiss,
Mm,
and like the biography of Paul Stanley. I is a person that I really look up to, a very professional person, someone that doesn't do drugs, and I'm more of a fan of that kind of lifestyle, and I try to attach a lot of the advice and the experience that he explains about in his biography of how to take things professionally
mm,
and how to treat a band. And these are things that I'd rather choose. I think in these days there is no it's not very professional to be a mess. Like
sure.
myself, I don't, I'm not really a fan of that. But it's cool to read about it though. Like I really like to hear to read about those stories about the bands. Though I personally prefer to live my own life more calmly, because it's sorry again. There's like a car going outside, and
Oh no, I
it's
don't
fine.
hear anything.
Okay, now yeah. Otherwise, I cannot concentrate. But yeah, I personally rather choose to be more caring about my own
Mm,
body, and I know about my own mind too, and it's something that is very
sure.
important for me to function well, and for all of us in the band. Truly, we think it's very important to take care of ourselves, so we can be the best version we can for our fans. It's super important, and this is kind of our mentality. We believe that rock and roll is an exchange of energy with the
Mm,
audience. For me, that's rock and roll, and making music with energy and with passion, and you know that's rock and roll to me. The exchange of energy, and yeah, the whole picture from the band, the sound, and not the romanticizing of toxicity.
mm. What I find interesting then is because now this is kind of your baby, right? Cobra Spell is your band. So having to make all those decisions, and kind of as you mentioned, it's not just the music, but it's the aesthetic of the band, and maybe just logistics, planning, all that kind of stuff. What have you learned? And you mentioned kind of the professionalism you've seen from Stanley. What have you learned by kind of being the leader of the band, if I can put it that way?
I have learned a lot, more than ever, more than ever, because as someone that has to lead this a band, you have a lot of responsibilities. Um, I think a lot of people romanticize the position of being a band leader. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? I think, oh, you want to control everything, and you want to get away. You can get away with everything. It's not at all how that works. Being a band leader means you have the last word, and maybe you have the creativity in the band, you have the vision, but you're not doing it on your own. And this is something that is very important for me, a huge lesson.
Mm,
Um, you're working in a team, and it's very important to um, take responsibility from a lot of things, and those things that I'm talking about are way more than I thought they would be.
mm,
So this is, I think, a learning process. I mean, we can never know until we like jump into it. There is no how to say it. there is no, I haven't found any kind of lesson or tutorial out there that teaches you how to be the perfect band.
Sure.
There is no modus operandi out there. Let me tell you, all bands function differently. There is bands that kind of like, how to say it, use their musicians as session musicians. There's bands
Sure.
that are a full formation. There's so many different models. So in my path with Cobra Spell, I have kind of learned how I want to function in a band. So I think like that's why it's so hard to explain. I cannot go too much into it, but it's like I have learned a lot about how a certain structure should be, and I'm still in the learning process. It's a constant thing, and also the band changes a lot, and you have to adapt to how the band changes, and the opportunities change. Everything changes, so it's like
Sure.
you're constantly learning. Yeah.
But in that sense, then, do you, because now you're bringing out the first full album in 66, uh, do you see that as kind of like a snapshot then of this moment in time?
Well, right now, of course, it was like the songs were written now already over a half year ago, I think, half year
Hmm.
ago. So I would say I've already like changed from then.
Okay.
But for sure, it's something that is so many themes that are singed about, written
Hmm.
about it in this in the 666 are themes that are very personal to me. They're still very personal to me, and yeah, they shape me to the person that I am today. I mean, there's a reason why I have him tattooed. For me, it's the most meaningful album that I have been that I have written on, that I've released. It's very personal. I cannot say it's exactly me right now because we constantly change as persons.
Sure.
Um, I think there was a Sonia before 666 and a Sonia after 666.
Mm.
If I have to, it sounds kind of funny,
No, but I
but
get it.
there was a huge transformation even at the after the studio. Like it was like pre and post studio phase. Like being able to record those songs, seeing them take shape was such a beautiful experience. To see that happen and being able to um, make those songs that have an actual meaning to me, it's, it transformed me. It
Mm.
made me way more secure about myself, and it transformed Cobra Spell. It's transforming Cobra Spell. Um, yeah, it's. I hope that
No, no,
answer
definitely.
answers your question.
No, definitely. Yeah, that's awesome to hear. I think that's the evolution of yourself as a musician and the band as well, as you mentioned. Is there then
Yeah,
one song that we can kind of lift out that was really important? I'm sure all of them are important, but maybe just the first thing that comes to your mind that you thought, well, this is definitely something that needs to be on this record.
yeah. I mean, two songs. I would say "The Devil Inside of Me" and "Fly Away."
Okay.
Um, Firstly, I would say "The Devil Inside of Me" as a more fast-paced song is a song that speaks about my experience um, with the religious side of my family.
Mm,
Now, I have nothing against religion. I'm only against the people that misuse or disrespect people that are not religious. And I personally have experienced the neglect in my own family, something
mm,
that kind of marked me, and I'm kind of disappointed and sad about it. I am already like, for me it was like a catharsis to write this
sure.
song. It was like taking it out somehow. Um, I am learning to deal with it. It's something that is still present in my heart, but I'm learning to accept that sometimes you have to accept circumstances as they are. If certain people don't want to talk to you for the way you live, it's something you have to accept. You cannot change people, and yeah, it's kind of speaks about um, dealing with that pain,
Mm,
and yeah, that this song speaks about this experience. Fly Away is a song that speaks about my aunt, who, the sister of my mother, who had similar problems. I unfortunately didn't get to meet her. She took her own life.
Oh wow.
Yeah, and I was named after her. So her name is Sonia. I am Sonia. And since I've never got to meet her, she took her life many, many years before I was born. And the story, in my family, she's not talked about. It's like a huge to talk about her, and because of the religion and
Yeah.
way how negative things were. Like my family is so extremely religious. They have been part of some kind of like how to say it, a sect, a religious sect.
Cult, yeah.
And some things were not they were not able to talk about, and I feel the pain of my aunt somehow because I can relate to her pain, though I have never known her. And somehow I feel that connection. And because I wish I knew more about this person, because the only person that talks to me about my aunt is my mother. And the things that she tells me, I kind of feel a huge connection with her. And I have her name. It's like I'm taking her karma.
Right.
And this is something that intrigues me a lot. I have so many questions that I wish I could ask to this person. Why? Why did she do what she did? And how much I wish I could know her and be her friend. Because I wish I could tell her, it could have been better if you kept on going, or I don't know. It's this song's about this very complicated situation. Yeah.
But it's I think then because you mentioned the word catharsis, and it's I think it's good that you have that outlet then in musical form, that you can kind of work through these thoughts, right?
Totally, because it's something that I've kept for myself, and yeah, and to be able to make music about something that really is important to me, because for many many years I have been a member in bands in which I had to be more of a live musician,
Sure.
and I'm thankful for those experiences that I had, though it's for me so fulfilling to be able to create something that is very personal to me, because that to me is more, it's art when you make something that comes from you, and that's art to me. And I want to create art. I don't want to be part of something that maybe I don't completely align or not completely understand, because I feel like I'm more of a tool. I'm more of like a and this is totally fine, like, but I don't want to be a session musician or a hired musician, a hired gun, you know what I mean? I'm more of someone that wants to create something, and being able to put my experiences and give them a certain shape, and in a shape that can be translated for the audience in different ways. Like, for example, the devil inside of me, it has this personal experience of mine written into it, but many people can see themselves in this
Yeah.
situation, because if you feel like a black sheep in a certain family situation, or it will be something that you can relate to. And that's why I think for me it's something that I needed to do, and I'm so happy that I can do this in the first album of Cobra Spell. Yeah.
Yeah, it's different, right? If it's the first album that you've really put your heart and soul in, and now it's become a reality.
Yeah,
May I thank you so much for taking the time to talk with me and being so open
for sure.
everything.
For sure. Thank you.